Why a good salary still doesn't make you wealthy. Emma and James both earn $5,000 a month after tax. They are almost the same age. They live in the same city, work in successful careers, and receive similar pay rises. From the outside, their financial lives appear almost identical. But 10 years from now, Emma will have a growing investment portfolio, a substantial emergency fund, and very little financial stress. James will still earn a good salary, but he will feel as though one unexpected expense could pull his entire life apart. How can two people earn the same amount of money and finish in such different positions? The answer is not simply how much they earn. It is what happens to their money after it arrives. A good salary can make life more comfortable, but income alone does not create wealth. Income is money flowing into your life. Wealth is what remains, what you own, and what continues working for you. If every increase in income is followed by an equal increase in spending, your lifestyle may become more expensive, while your financial position remains almost unchanged. This is the salary trap. Today, we will follow Emma and James for 10 years. We will see how 5 ordinary financial decisions can transform the same monthly salary into 2 completely different futures. The numbers in this story are simplified examples. Taxes, investment returns, and living costs vary, and investment returns are never guaranteed. But the principles reveal something important about how wealth is actually built. At the beginning of our story, Emma and James each take home $5,000 a month. Both spend approximately $3,500 on essential living costs: housing, utilities, food, insurance, and transportation. That leaves each of them with $1,500. At this moment, neither person is wealthy, but both possess something extremely valuable: financial capacity. They have a gap between what they earn and what they need. What they do with that gap will influence everything that follows. Emma makes a simple decision. She gives every part of the remaining money a job before the month begins. $500 goes toward building an emergency fund. $500 is invested automatically in a diversified long-term portfolio. $300 is reserved for irregular expenses and short-term goals. The remaining $200 is available for entertainment and personal spending. James takes a different approach. He pays his necessary bills and leaves the remaining $1,500 in his everyday account. There is no plan for it, but there are always opportunities to spend it. A better phone costs $70 a month. Food deliveries and additional subscriptions consume another $200. Weekend spending, convenience purchases, and a more expensive car payment absorb most of what remains. James is not reckless. He simply allows each decision to appear small when viewed individually. But money does not experience decisions individually. It experiences their combined effect. 2 years later, Emma and James both receive a pay rise. Their monthly take-home income increases from $5,000 to $5,500. James feels that he has earned an upgrade. He replaces his reliable car with a more expensive model. He moves into a better apartment and increases his holiday budget. His income has increased by $500, but his monthly commitments have increased by almost the same amount. He earns more, but his financial capacity has barely changed. Emma also improves her lifestyle, but she uses a rule. She will enjoy part of every pay rise and direct the rest toward her future. From the additional $500, she spends $200 on a better quality of life and adds $300 to her monthly investments. Emma is not denying herself everything today. She is preventing today from consuming everything that belongs to tomorrow. This is the first major difference. James asks, "What can my new salary allow me to buy?" Emma asks, "What can my new salary help me build?" During the 3rd year, both cars require an expensive repair. The cost is $2,000. Emma has already built an emergency fund. She pays for the repair from that reserve and then gradually replenishes it. The expense is unpleasant, but it does not become long-term debt. James does not have a dedicated emergency reserve. Most of his salary is already committed before it arrives. He places the repair on a credit card. The original problem costs $2,000, but interest and minimum payments keep part of that expense alive for months. Then another problem appears. Because James now has a monthly credit card payment, his future income has less freedom. Yesterday's emergency has become tomorrow's obligation. This is why emergency savings are not merely idle money. They create distance between an unexpected expense and expensive debt. Emma and James experienced exactly the same problem. But the problem produced different consequences because their financial systems were different before the emergency arrived. Now consider Emma's investments. For 10 years, she invests regularly. Her contribution begins at $500 a month and later increases when her income rises. To keep the example simple, imagine an average contribution of $800 a month over the full period. Over 10 years, Emma contributes $96,000 of her own money. If her portfolio achieved a hypothetical average annual return of 7% compounded monthly, it could grow to approximately $138,000. That result is not guaranteed. Real markets rise and fall, fees and taxes matter, and actual returns can be higher or lower. But notice what has happened. Emma's salary performed the original work. Then the investments began doing part of the work with her. The longer this continues, the more important the growth can become relative to her monthly contributions. James also worked for 10 years. He may even have received larger bonuses. But much of his increased income became a larger car payment, higher recurring expenses, and interest on previous purchases. His money repeatedly bought things that required more money from him. Emma gradually bought assets that had the potential to grow and eventually support her. That is the difference between looking prosperous and becoming financially stronger. Many people believe that small daily purchases are the only reason they struggle to build wealth. Those purchases can matter, but the largest financial pressure often comes from fixed commitments. A more expensive home, a longer car loan, multiple subscriptions, and financed lifestyle upgrades can claim future salaries before those salaries have even been earned. When James received another pay rise, it did not feel as powerful as expected. Why? Because more of his income already belonged to past decisions. Emma's lower fixed commitments gave her options. She could increase her investments, change jobs, take time away from work, or respond to an emergency without immediately borrowing. Wealth is not only the amount displayed in an investment account. It is also the amount of control you have over your future time and future income. After 10 years, both Emma and James have successful careers. Both have enjoyed holidays, purchased useful things, and experienced financial setbacks. But their positions are very different. Emma has a fully funded emergency reserve, approximately $138,000 in our hypothetical investment example, and a monthly system that continues automatically. James has a higher cost lifestyle, limited cash reserves, and several payments competing for each new salary. He does not necessarily need to sell everything or live without enjoyment. He needs to rebuild the gap between what he earns and what his life requires. James's situation is not permanent. Financial direction can change when financial behavior changes. But beginning later means he must contribute more, wait longer, or adjust his goals, because Emma has already given her money something James cannot purchase later: time. So how can you avoid the salary trap? First, calculate your real financial gap. Subtract your essential expenses and fixed commitments from your take-home income. Do not ask only how much you earn. Ask how much remains available to strengthen your future. Second, build an emergency reserve. Start with an achievable amount, then work toward a reserve appropriate for your circumstances. Its purpose is to prevent ordinary emergencies from automatically becoming expensive debt. Third, invest automatically. Choose an amount that fits your situation and direct it toward an appropriately diversified, long-term strategy. Automation reduces the need to make the same decision every month. Fourth, divide every pay rise. Enjoy part of it, but direct another part towards saving, investing, or reducing expensive debt. If your lifestyle absorbs every increase, your income may grow while your wealth remains still. Fifth, watch recurring commitments. A single purchase ends. A monthly payment follows you into the future. Before accepting a new commitment, ask what percentage of your future income it will claim. A good salary is a powerful tool. but a tool produces results only when it is directed toward a purpose. Emma and James did not create different outcomes because one deserved wealth more than the other. They created different outcomes because one built a system before lifestyle decisions consumed the available money. Your financial future is not determined by one perfect stock, one dramatic sacrifice, or one unusually high salary. It is shaped by the gap you protect, the assets you build, and the time you allow those assets to grow. So, when your next salary arrives, do not ask only, "What can I afford to buy?" Ask, "What can this money help me build?" In the next video, we will break down the exact order in which you can assign your paycheck, from essential bills and emergency savings to debt repayment and investing. Subscribe to Money and Investments for clear animated explanations that help you understand money, make smarter decisions, and build long-term wealth. This video is for general education and does not provide personalized financial, investment, tax, or legal advice.